Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pulse Arena Invitational in support of the United Way of New York City. Such a great cause that, of course, United Way is bringing to the table. As you guys know, New York City was hit incredibly hard when it comes to COVID-19, and they're doing a great job at helping spreading the word, at least, and just donating and helping those that are in need, and those children and families who have been affected by the effects of COVID-19. You guys can assist yourself by donating. So spread the word about donating to United Way of New York City. You can learn more by going to their website, unitedwaynewyorkcity.org, and you can also follow them on all social channels at United Way New York City. But of course, this event is even more special given the fact that, Pulse Esports Gaming Arena is putting this on for you viewers at home with so much Valorant action. 16 teams competing, and I can't wait to get it started. Pulse Gaming Arena is located, if you guys don't know, in the heart of New York City. It's designed to be used by publishers, developers, professional teams, and gamers from any gaming culture, and it's boasting 2 viewing levels. So if you're a spectator, you want to go view, you have that opportunity to also do it safely. I gotta say, it is spectacular. There's gonna be some videos we're gonna be showing a little bit later with commentary. You're also gonna be able to just see what they can bring to the table. But if you're an aspiring pro, an aspiring team, you got to be checking them out. Pulse Esports Gaming Arena, they are bringing some big stuff to the table. I'm Taylor Reflections Nope. I'm going to be your host for this week. And of course, Bach Ryan Central is going to be joining me as the casters for at least the first 2 groups. It's going to be a fantastic time. Ryan, we'll start with you. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. This is the first time I've got the opportunity to cast NA Valorant, so I've obviously been keeping up to date with all of the big tournaments, all of the Ignition series. It's starting to ramp up here, and it's an absolute privilege, I suppose, to cast some of these endemic orgs that have got in really early to the scene, put a lot of resources into it, and it looks like, I think TSM are probably going to take this one again if I'm giving a quick prediction, but I'm really excited to see what Cloud9 do.
That's a bold pick.
Is it really daring today, are we? It kind of feels like. But Cloud9 is obviously a big question mark at the moment. Sentinels look so much better than what they did previously, so I think there's a lot of question marks. Not to mention as well, you have all of these teams coming through open qualifiers and brackets and stuff that are now starting to make a name for themselves.
And that is
I don't think you can sleep. I don't think you can sleep on Echo 8. I don't think you can sleep on Code 7 either. Echo 8 also coming in with a slightly different roster than what we've seen play with in the past, swapping out Reformed and Rec and bringing in 2 new players. Well, we won't give any spoilers as of yet, but you guys will see who those players are going to be as the tournament progresses.
But speaking of that, let's actually go ahead and break down how the format is going to work this weekend, because it's going to be separate groups with 4 teams in each group. You can see them on your screen as of now. All 4 teams in each group are going to be playing each other in a round robin, and they're only going to be in a best-of-1 format. So you're going to only have 1 chance against each team to put up or shut up and do a good job. The top 2 teams from each of these groups will move on to the playoffs, and the bottom 2 teams are going to be fully eliminated. Tomorrow and Sunday, we will feature the playoffs, and playoffs will consist of an 8-team single elimination bracket. Each match during the playoff bracket will be a best-of-3, so both teams will race to be the first one to win 2 maps. It's going to be an action-packed weekend, and I cannot wait to get it started. But as we do, boys, let's go ahead and at least break down the groups, right? We saw the groups up there. It looked impressive. Which group is looking the most stacked to you?
I think Group B, certainly. I think you saw the mentioned Code 7 before.
Yep.
Way to French is also another team. They won a fairly big tournament in the Trovo one last week, which had a $5,000 prize pool, which is good for a startlet team, It's not a big Ignition 50k tournament like the T1 one was. But these are teams that are there to cause upsets, and I think there are a lot of teams that are the bigger orgs, your Cloud9 Sentinels, as I mentioned, they can easily be surprised. I think this is the first real tournament that we've seen some of these well-known established teams now going up against these newcomers, and there's going to be upsets, there's bound to be, and I think Group B is where it's going to happen. Immortals look decent, certainly a top 3 team in NA, but they're going to have to deal with some curveballs in this group for sure. Certainly with Code 7, as we're about to go into, I think.
Yeah, Immortals Code 7 going to be our first one. Bach, what are you thinking? Which groups to you seems the most stacked?
I mean, if you're looking at the team that's probably the best in the tournament, you would peg that group as Group A, because TSM is by far the favorite to take pretty much any event that they currently play in. But at the same point in time, I look at Group D and I kind of see some question marks. Like, I'm not really sure what we should expect from Orbit. We've seen Together We Are Terrific, obviously making it into the playoff stages of the T1 and Nerd Street Gamers Valorant Showdown. Sentinels played really great in that event as well, kind of surprising a lot of people because their beta play was not super impressive. But things have started to kind of gel and mesh together nicely. And then you look at Group C as well. And yeah, maybe GENG is the favorite to make it out. But of the other three, it could be any of those teams. Cloud9 has been up and down because the roster has never been solidified. We see different players coming in and out of that team each and every single event. Oxygen Supremacy has played with the same players for the most part since the early stages of the beta. And then Triumph, a team that we haven't seen as much of compared to the other three. So like we mentioned, yeah, bound to be some upsets. It is best of one. So there's definitely guaranteed upsets, especially when we end up on the right maps. But if I'm looking at like the most, I don't know, I guess the most stacked, like you had said, I have to agree with Ryan. B is like the most stacked and the hardest to predict. Because I could see Immortals losing to Code 7. I could see Way Too French beating both Immortals and Code 7. You know, and those first three teams, Immortals, Code 7, and Way Too French, it's going to be a battle for the top seed. I think it's going to be one of those three. I don't think that Lazarus actually is going to be able to make it out of groups, unfortunately, because I think the rest of the teams are just too solid, too strong, and have too much experience.
Yeah, Lazarus coming in, you know, it's going to be the first real chance to kind of watch them play it out. I'm actually very interested to see how they perform. I've been following Lazarus for quite some time since they were back in STDX, right? So they do have some pedigree. They've been around as an org for quite some time, and they have been successful in multiple different facets of esports. So Lazarus is going to be a big question mark. But again, I also look at Group D, right, with T1 Academy, and I'm very curious how they're going to perform. You know, obviously going against Together We Are Terrific. I'm super interested to see how they're going to play. They've had some great success in the past. They are arguably one of the teams that needs to be picked up by an org, right? They're incredibly talented. And for me, that's going to be the team that I'm looking to make it out of Group D. But like you guys said, Group B is at least what we're starting off with. I'm excited for it, and I can't wait to see what Code 7 could bring to the table. Way Too French. But I mean, look, we're looking at top three teams, right? Immortals, Code 7, Way Too French. And obviously, if you do discredit Lazarus, that still leaves one more spot because only the top two teams move forward. So there's a big question mark who's going to be eliminated. And honestly, either three of those teams, I could see them performing well whenever it comes to the playoffs in the bracket, not only, you know, tomorrow, but also on Sunday. So that's going to be a shame to watch any of those four teams be eliminated. At the end of the day, it's just going to be a fun weekend filled with some Valorant action. But there's still one more thing that we have to get out there. Let's talk about ways that you can, in fact, donate. I mentioned, of course, United Way just a little bit earlier, and donating is an important facet of that. You have that opportunity to do so. Hey, like, we love supporting rights, you know, the human rights of things. Everybody needs a helping hand, and obviously United Way of New York City is doing so. You can donate yourself. Please make sure anything that you can kind of give out there, it's hugely wanted, it's hugely beneficial. And like I said before, you can support them by going to unitedwaynewyorkcity.org, or you could follow them on the social channels at United Way New York City. With that being said, though, make sure you guys donate, support a good cause. Everybody can always use a helping hand. But let's go ahead and talk about our featured match.